Today we're going back to the year 1984, man. But before I do, I've got to say condolences to the friends and family of my friend and the late great legendary vocalist of the Dicks and Sister Double Happiness, Black Kali Ma, the Buddha Brothers. Rest in peace to Gary Floyd, who passed away earlier today. A good friend and definitely a hero of mine. So this video is dedicated to the memory of Gary Floyd. Rest in peace, bro. We're going back to the year 1984 to the Prairie Capitol Convention Center in Springfield, Illinois. I saw many concerts there from maybe 82, 83, 84, 85, 86. For many years, they had some of the biggest and most kind of out of control rock and roll concerts. And the show I'm going to tell you about is definitely one that was out of control. And it was in the history books, basically, is even in Steven Tyler's book, he talks about it. We're talking about the great Aerosmith with the classic lineup of Steven Tyler, of course, Joe Perry, Brad Whitford, Tom Hamilton, Joey Kramer. Yeah. And wow, it was a crazy night, man. It's another one of those tales that starts with, me and some friends did some acid and went to a concert. Hey man, I'm just telling the truth. I was 18 years old and really into, well, having fun. So we went to the Prairie Capitol Convention Center. My buddy Steve McCormick is driving. Somebody else that I don't recall is in the car. I'm in the back seat. We all take it just in time to get there to miss the opening act, ORION the Hunter. Truth is, I don't remember, man. We might have watched ORION the Hunter. I can't remember. I did some research, but can't find anything about their set or much about it. So, to my knowledge, right when we got to the Prairie Capitol Convention Center and everything started kicking in, if you know what I'm saying, like heavily, the lights go down and we're like, perfect timing. It's Aerosmith. Right when we get there, it kicks in, you know, the Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Yeah, back to that. So the lights go down, and next thing you know, it's Aerosmith. They're on stage. We're all tripping. We're like, woohoo! Well, I'm separated from my friends because I got my ticket late and by myself. So my friends were in the front row. I'm in like the 15th row, something like that. And here comes Steven Tyler and the boys. They're all on stage. Steven comes out and is dancing all around, like hyper dancing, like high as a kite dancing, probably making me look completely sober, which of course he was, because when I read his book, he announced in his book that while he was standing behind the stage, behind the curtains, waiting to go out on stage, he literally had, I can't remember, man. Someone tell me in the description. Somebody out there is going to call me out. But it was either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 grams of heroin that this guy snorted right before he goes on stage. I'm like, whether it was 1, 2, or 3 or 4, I was like, that's a lot of drugs, man. Whew, I can't imagine. So anyway, Steve Tyler comes out, and it's obvious that the other guys know that he's on drugs because Joe Perry jabs Steven Tyler in his stomach with his guitar. There's a tension going on. So one of the other guys kind of snubs him a little bit, and Steven Tyler's dancing around, jumping up and down, going nuts, and he falls straight off the stage, right into the lap of the guy that drove me to the concert, Steve McCormick. No lie. And so it was completely bizarre because when we all met up after the show, he told me all about it. The guy, Steven Tyler's in my lap and blah, blah, blah. And he was out, man. He was high as a kite. He was out. He wasn't really hurt as much as he was just stoned. It all hit him. And when he fell down, that drug hit him. And, you know, there's actually a short clip on YouTube that shows one angle from it. It's really interesting. The date was July 13th, 1984, Prairie Capitol Convention Center, Springfield, Illinois. And when Steven finally stayed in my buddy's lap, 3 or 4 guys from the crew come and get him up. They help him up. They get him on stage. And the guys on Aerosmith all pretty much kind of beat him up. Not like massively, but they all were smacking him around and like nudging him and hitting him, and it's like they were really pissed off that he would ruin the concert at the beginning, because apparently, you know, Aerosmith had broken up in like '79 when Joe Perry left the band. Jimmy Crespo came in on guitar, and you know, Brad Whitford left the band to join Whitford St. Holmes with, of course, Derek St. Holmes. Later, he actually joined the Joe Perry Project, I believe, for a minute. And then they kind of got back with Aerosmith. So what I saw was the comeback concert tour, officially called the Back in the Saddle Tour, Well, at this show, Steven Tyler was definitely not back in any saddle. He had fallen straight off the saddle into my buddy's lap, that's for sure, man. Here's what's crazy. So we're all sitting there like, you've got to be kidding. And it's apparent that there's not going to be a show. We can all feel it. So we sit there for about 5 minutes. All the guys leave the stage. We're all like, and you know, those of us on stimulants that had just kicked in are really going, oh my God, the cognitive dissonance is kicking in. So you know what happens? Interestingly enough, Joe Perry comes out on stage by himself with his guitar, and he plays Red House by Jimi Hendrix. And he plays, and then he walks off, and that was it, man. It's almost like he felt so guilty about Steven doing that he thought, I'm going to go out and do something for these guys, whatever. And so what happened was I left the Prairie Capitol Convention Center. I walked outside, and I saw the tour bus parked, you know, close to the venue because they must have gotten Steven. They were going to get the hell out of Dodge. Well, guess what? There was like hundreds of us people at that show on all sides of the bus shaking this thing, and the bus was literally rocking like this. They were petrified, like the band was probably sitting inside, you know, going to the bathroom in their pants, to put it less, you know, in less French terms. So man, the bus was almost rocking. Then a guy came out with like a loudspeaker or something and said, look, we're going to give everybody here a free copy of the brand new Aerosmith Greatest Hits album that's coming out like next week or whatever, next month or whenever. It may have already been out, who knows. But the thing is, we either got a slip of paper or they had him on the site. But everybody kind of calmed down at that point, and they all said Steven's not well or something like that, and everybody finally left. But I thought the bus was definitely going to land on its side. It was crazy. I've never seen anything like that ever. I was like, and I was one of them that joined in. We were all just kind of felt cheated, ripped off. You know, we got Steven Tyler falling off stage and Joe Perry doing a Red House. Not really worth the price of admission, which was probably $8 back then. Hell, I don't remember, man. But yeah, that was one hell of a show. All I can remember is driving back home, getting in my buddy Steve's car, sitting in the back seat. Everyone was completely silent after we, you know, initially talked about how Steven landed in my buddy's lap. And I just remember thinking, wow, I'm literally going back home because we had nowhere to go hang out together. So he was taking me home, and I tripped for about another 6 hours alone. And that was just a very intense night of major letdown and, you know, sitting at home alone. And that's not fun when you're in that position. 18 and just completely whacked out of my head. Listen, my friends, please subscribe, like, comment, and share this video if you would. I really appreciate it. I do comment back to everybody, and I'll be back probably tomorrow or the next day with another exciting tale, and it's about a completely notorious scum rocker. All right, my friends, cheers.